because plastic is, it overtakes everything, like the food industry, and if there's ways to avoid it, it's I think that healthy eating also, it goes beyond the food that you're eating. It goes into it starts with where your food comes from, how it's packaged, and how you dispose of it. Food waste is a huge thing.
Yes.
That we try to avoid, like if you can compost, like that, those are really important things for me, and that's all part of conscious cooking.
Today we're going to talk about living without plastic, and we are super duper thrilled to have with us again Christine from Conscious Cooking. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you so much for joining us.
We want to just dive deep right away, because this is a topic that I think gets overlooked, because plastics are in everything. It's in all the packaging that we have, and you've dedicated time and effort and love, and you created a book. Can you share with us about your book? Well, actually, let's take a step back. Who the heck are you, Christine? For those that are
nutritionist,
coming, joining us for the first time, let's have you introduce yourself today.
Okay, I'm Christine from Conscious Cooking. I have an Instagram page where I share healthy recipes and inspiration that goes beyond healthy foods, beyond plant foods. It inspires people to take action in terms of change in habits, mindset, things that are going on in the world right now. What happened, how I started my plastic journey is through watching the documentary A Plastic Oceans.
So shocking.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great, I had no idea, from 3 or 4 years ago when I watched the film A Plastic Oceans. And it really opened up my mind, because I didn't know how much our spending habits create so much garbage. Like, you think that you throw something away and then it's out of sight, out of mind, it's all being taken out. The reality is that only 9% of any plastic is actually recycled. And it ends up in the ocean.
Say again, how many percent?
9%.
9. So insane.
Wow.
Let's sit with that for a second, because there's so much juiciness in this.
Yeah.
And it's like people will just kind of hear what you say, and then it just kind of goes over their head. 9%, that's like nothing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, it's so little.
All the plastic that's ever been, and it shocked me actually that that the United States and other Western countries were shipping all of their garbage to China to process. Like, why can't we deal with our own garbage? Why can't the corporations who create this garbage, like why can't they help tackle the problem that we're facing? Because a lot of that, the 91% that doesn't get recycled, oftentimes it goes into the waterways or oceans. And, like a piece of plastic, it takes up to 450 years to break down.
Yeah.
And so that means that, and plastics have only been in existence for less than 100 years. And so that means that every single piece of plastic that has ever been made still exists on the planet somewhere today. Which is insane. It's horrible.
So disheartening, for sure.
So 3 things you want to bring awareness to people about plastics, and in what way can you have them make a simple change just to kind of lessen the load of plastics in our environment?
Yeah. So actually the book that's coming out in November it's co-authored with Plastic Oceans International. So it's
awesome.
And it's 100 swaps that we can. I know that's not the question, but I wanted to scream.
Okay. No, are you kidding? That's awesome.
It's amazing.
You direct this conversation because you're going to educate us.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I love this.
Give you some background to where this.
Please.
Yes, please. Yeah. Okay, good.
So it's actually co-authored with them, which is an incredible opportunity. amazing experience to be able to work with them on this project. And
Wow.
the book is like 100+ ways that you can swap plastic out of your lives,
Amazing.
in the food space, at home, on the go. So there's all these different ways that you can do it. And it goes beyond, bringing your own straw. It goes beyond just kind of the obvious things. I think it's...
Well, you know what, Christine? Obvious is not always obvious. So I think you need to actually spell it out, because there's a lot of people that just actually are not conscious about this, right?
Right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, so with conscious cooking, like my platform, ever since I watched the film, I do talk about plastic a lot. And there's one thing that a lot of people took away from my posts is that when you go to the supermarket and you're buying produce, all the loose produce, a lot of people just automatically reach for those plastic bags that are there. And that all adds up. Even if it's made out of recycled material, that does not mean that it's recyclable necessarily. So people will always reach for that. And so the number one swap that a lot of people have made, my viewers, my community, is that they buy their own produce bags.
Right.
And that's like the top one, because people use that often, and
Yes.
definitely a good tip for people, and they love it, because they just know. I've seen people, they grab like 20 bags in order to put bananas in and put like things that have their natural
Yeah.
It drives me crazy. But so people do that, and so, if you're accustomed to using bags, if you can't break that habit, then I would definitely recommend doing the produce bags.
So that's you can get that on Amazon. It'll be listed in your book, I guess, all the resources.
Yes, we have resources in our book. Or some people you can make a bag out of a sheet. You can repurpose an old pillowcase or something, and just something that's lightweight material. Or you could just let it go loose. It's fine.
Exactly. I do loose most of the time, but I am guilty of the certain things that are super duper wet, and I don't want other things to get wet. But you're right. So it's just a good reminder. It's I'm not here to feel guilty, but I am, I have been doing my part, but obviously I can totally get it to another level. So thank you for that.
I think one of the most... Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say, I think one of the most shocking visuals was the turtle with the straws. And then even at our Toronto Zoo, they have basically a structural, moose and polar bears kind of figurines, big built-up ones made out of water bottles, and all of the pollution that they find in the oceans, trying to kind of put across the visual of what plastic is doing and how much plastic there really is. And what was your biggest visual from that documentary that kind of made you go, whoa, that's shocking?
The shocking part for me was the bird. So a lot of birds ingest plastic because they mistake it for food. There's something in the smell of it or something, but there's a bird that they've discovered, and there's a lot of, maybe 90% of birds actually ingest plastic. So there's plastic in their bodies, and obviously it affects they can't function. And one over 200 pieces of plastic in their body that they dissect. And it was just heartbreaking. There's a toothbrush, lighter, all bottle caps, all things that they eat. And so it's heartbreaking that, our waste is really affecting so many animals, not just birds and not just marine life. There's cows in India. There's a lot, everywhere, all animals, everybody's impacted by our
Yeah, if we were to do a pee sample, we would find BPA's, part of the plastic in our
bodies,
urine. Yeah. And, so if we did urine samples, all of us would find that just from our drinking water. So it affects us as an individual, and those act as endocrine disruptors. So meaning it can affect our thyroids and ovaries and our whole endocrine system.
Sure, and we wonder about all the, diseases and ailments that we have, and it's just so compounded by our environment and how we drink our food, drink our drinks, water, right?
Yeah.
I mean, BPA is not only for water, right? It's not in cans, which now they say BPA free, but they've replaced the A with something else, and who knows what the impacts of that are. So there are healthy plastics, that it lines all the milk cartons or juice cartons or ice cream cartons. It lines all the cans, So those things that and those chemicals can leach into foods that are oily, foods that are acidic. So like tomatoes, even Tetra Paks, all those things. It's very prevalent in I'd rather buy tomatoes and make my own sauce than use the tinned tomatoes.
It is so true.
Or glass, if you're somebody who's not
glass,
smart. Yeah.
Or surgical grade steel, food quality steel. And this is just so important, and because we don't think about it, and we wonder why health is going down, right? And there's more hormonal issues, right?
So with regards to male fertility, even I remember the cutoffs back in the day where a minimum of 70 million per male used to be the norm for a sample for sperm counts, and now it's the norm is less than 20. And I do think that plastics polluting our oceans and basically everywhere in our lives that has impacted just even male fertility.
Yeah, and what they, and the point about that is our baseline is going down, our quality is going down, and they call that normal, but normal doesn't mean it's good.
Ideal, exactly.
Right?
So, 2020, we've learned that normal is not good.
No, right? Normal's not good. So it's anything else with regards to plastics that you want to share? Any
Well, okay, because it is a plastic. It's okay to go to racial justice. You can't fight against plastic if not everybody is on board. Yes, we can make our own swaps and changes, which we should if you're able to, 100%. But if you're in a position where you are not able to, where plastic is your only way of buying food, then obviously you do that, and you would try to minimize plastic in those situations by perhaps buying in bulk. If you buy frozen peas, don't buy the little individual packs. Buy a bigger pack so that you're not. So you're minimizing the packaging. You're still getting the product, but you're minimizing the packaging.
And it is so true. You do. You hit the nail on the head, because there's a lot of people that will not have access, or may not have the financial access, right, to buy and because unfortunately, the organic and the open, it's more expensive. You find the prepackaged stuff and they're cheaper, and so people with a lower income bracket, they'll. That this is their choice. This is what they have to work with. So I think buying in the bulk is such a great idea.
On a global level, even if we could just manufacture less plastic toys, the toys are we're just such big consumers of plastic toys.
Oh,
there's so much plastic that is so unnecessary because it's cheap.
Cheap, exactly.
Meant to be disposable, but it's actually not disposable in any sense. So that's another thing that just to be mindful of, because you don't need this stuff. We don't need this garbage in our own lives and polluting the planet.
Yeah. No, thank you so much. Yeah, and when you say this, I just even think of birthday parties. Of course, that's going to change anyway. But the loot bags are always plastic typically, right? So it's being conscious about that kind of stuff, right? Who the heck decided that loot bags had to be we didn't grow up with loot bags. It's let's create a new culture. Screw the loot bags.
Every time that we go to the beach, I always we always go for a walk, and I always find stuff. And the number one thing that I find are balloons. I hate balloons with a vengeance now.
Oh no. Yes.
You're right.
You're so right.
You're right.
You're so
but
right.
We do. And
Yes.
as moms with young kids, you can totally gravitate towards that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, so so in the book, there are swaps to balloons. There's swaps to anything, and you
Oh,
can
great.
Awesome.
an amazing celebration. And
Yes.
that's without balloons, without,
Yeah.
so you can have a much richer life without all the plastic, without all the junk, without all the stuff that accumulates, that you use it once and never again. There's just things to be mindful of,
And
and small things that you can easily change.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
just teaching our kids, so starting from young.
Yes. Well, so obviously, again, there's not everybody that has children, but like wherever you're at in life, we should be conscious.
Always, yes.
So I don't think it's an excuse. Like, just kind of like COVID, it's allowing us. I always believe that, challenges, whatever we face, it's an opportunity to grow. And, we have this global stop right now, and hopefully it's going to allow people to sit and think and be more conscious in their choices that they're making, which includes plastic. Right? So thank you for addressing this for sure, and that's something that we will continuously be conscious of from now on.
Really appreciate having you as our guest. What would you say was the biggest little swap out that kind of made you feel the happiest with regards to swapping out plastic for something else that kind of makes you feel elated to say, I did this?
Okay, this is it's very personal, but it's very important because it affects many women. The menstrual cup.
Yes.
That has been, honestly, the best thing, because when you think of all the waste that the monthly cycles, that is my best and top swap.
Mine too.
Very good.
Love it.
Okay.
Thank you
Awesome.
so much
Thank
for
you so
sharing.
much for that.
I've been a plastic aversion nut for years too, and that video I actually had my children watch it.
Awesome.
I had my son watch it because now every time we go to a store and he wants to buy plastic,
I haven't watched it.
I
so I need to.
say, remember that video? And then he's like, oh yeah, that's plastic. Okay, no. And he
Awesome.
literally decides between things like, how much plastic does this have?
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's
Yeah.
one.
Okay.
That's one thing that I made my family do. Like, it wasn't the vegan, it was the plastic. It was like, you are sitting down, we're sitting down, and we're going to watch this documentary together. And definitely,
What's the name of the documentary again?
the Plastic Ocean.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's definitely one thing that I made my family do. And where it's been a little tough during COVID, but we try to minimize as much as we can.
Yeah, just little steps, and it's so impactful.
So before we close, the one thing we want to ask you is we love to talk about in our day what fills our cup of tea. So for you, and it might not, and your water, yes. So, what has it filled your cup today?
Well, I think, my day has just started, but speaking to you ladies has been amazing. And I do enjoy sharing what I've learned along my journey. Like, I love sharing my journey, and I love, being able to help influence people positively, and that's really important. And that fills my cup every day.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Aw, thank you so much for sharing. Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So if you like this episode, please subscribe, and that's below, and just thumbs up and like us, okay? And share with everybody you know. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, thank you,
Thank
Christine.
you.
We'll talk to you later.
Talk to you soon. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us. Click subscribe, like, and share. Please comment and suggest topics you want us to cover.
Until next time, ask yourself, how are you going to embrace you first today?
For more podcasts, check out embraceyoufirst.com.
And follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.